Good evening. Welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. Well, after a week of Parliament deadlock, the Rajya Sabha finally started debating the government's demonetisation drive. But both the houses were adjourned till tomorrow after ruckus over opposition's demand that Prime Minister Modi speak on demonetisation in Parliament. Well, all updates from Parliament and other biggest news from India and across the globe in the next half an hour in News at 6. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. Both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha adjourned for the day after disruptions over the demonetisation move. Upper House resumes debate on the note ban issue. Can the Prime Minister name any country where people deposited money in banks but were not allowed to withdraw it? Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh asks during the debate on demonetisation in Rajya Sabha. Rupee crashes to record low of 68.86 against the US dollar amid sustained foreign fund outflows. Consistent demand for dollar by importers adds to pressure on the Indian currency. And 16 days after demonetisation, the traders and businesses say the earnings have taken a bad hit. Tourists also spending more time standing in queues. Well, our top story this evening, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh today resumed the debate on demonetisation in the upper house on Thursday in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, calling demonetisation as a monumental management failure, Dr. Manmohan Singh cautioned that the GDP of the country could shrink by 2 percentage points due to its poor implementation. Now, the TMC and the SP also slammed the demonetisation move.
The cooperative banking system, which serves large number of people in the rural areas, is non-functional, has been prevented from handling cash. So, in all these measures convinced me that the way the scheme has been implemented, it's a monumental management failure, and in fact, it is a case of organized loot and legalized plunder.
Scathing words from the former Prime Minister on the government's decision to scrap high-value currency notes. Dr. Manmohan Singh's remarks came on a day when Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended Rajya Sabha during question hour. Thursday is the day allocated to questions pertaining to the Prime Minister's office. Dr. Singh hailed the objectives of the demonetisation decision but warned that a 50-day period could be disastrous.
Prime Minister has said that we should wait for 50 days. Well, 50 days is a short period, but for those who are poor and deprived sections of the community, even 50 days torture can bring about disastrous effect. And that's why about 60 to 65 people have lost their lives. Maybe more. And what is more is, what has been done can weaken and erode our people's confidence in the currency system and in the banking system.
Singh also stressed that frequent changes to the new policy, including revising amounts that people can withdraw, reflects poorly on the offices of the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister and the Reserve Bank of India. He also pointed out that the unorganized sector will take a severe hit due to the demonetisation move.
Scheme of monetization, the way it has been implemented, will hurt agricultural growth in our country, will hurt small industry, will hurt all those people who are in the informal sectors of the economy.
Samajwadi Party's Naresh Agrawal alleged that the BJP unveiled the demonetisation decision to reap political benefits in the upcoming Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections.
मैं तो कहूँगा कि सदन से पास होना चाहिए कि भविष्य में अगर कोई चुनी हुई सरकार ऐसा निर्णय ले तो बिना दोनों सदन की परमिशन के किसी को निर्णय लेने का अधिकार नहीं। ये अधिकार पूरे देश का है, ये अधिकार पूरे देश की चुनी हुई जनता का है और जनता का रिप्रेजेंटेशन हम लोग कर रहे हैं। जब तक सदन में डिस्कस न हो जाए कैसे इस तरीके का निर्णय ले लिया जाएगा, और ये निर्णय श्रीमान बहुत घातक है। मैं तो कहूँगा ये निर्णय देश के हित में नहीं लिया गया। ये निर्णय उत्तर प्रदेश के चुनाव को देखते हुए लिया गया।
Lashing out against the government, Derek O'Brien of the TMC stressed that dissident voices on demonetization shouldn't be dubbed anti-national.
Anyone who opposes your policy, Mr. Prime Minister ji, with all respect, anyone who opposes your policy is not for black money. Anyone who opposes your policy is not anti-national. Why are you giving us these lectures on corruption and black money? We oppose. We are opposing you because people are suffering. We are opposing you because we believe the economy will be killed.
Dr. Manmohan Singh's speech was preceded by sharp exchanges between opposition leaders and the finance minister.
अगर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी यहाँ सदन के अलग अलग लीडरों को सुनेंगे, डिबेट में हिस्सा लेंगे, यहाँ हमें संबोधित करेंगे, तो मेरी मांग होगी कि अभी 12 बजे से ही डिस्कशन शुरू हो जाना चाहिए।
थैंक यू। महत्वपूर्ण विषय है और हम भी चाहते हैं कि पहले दिन डिबेट हुई और डिबेट अच्छी चल रही थी और अचानक विपक्ष ने रणनीति बदल ली और डिबेट रोक दी। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी निश्चित रूप से इस बहस में हिस्सा लेंगे। विपक्ष से मैं अनुरोध करूंगा कि तुरंत डिबेट शुरू करें।
However, during question hour in the presence of Prime Minister, the House unanimously decided to resume the debate on demonetization that was initiated on the first day of the winter session of Parliament. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, 0 hour was stalled in the upper house on Thursday as the opposition and the government sparred over the demonetization issue. Well, the opposition pressed for Prime Minister's presence while the government insisted on an immediate discussion. As the standoff prevailed, the House was adjourned till noon and later for the day.
The logjam over demonetization persisted in the upper house for the 6th day in a row. Soon after listed papers were laid and 0 hour began, Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad urged that the House should hear former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on demonetization. The chair also agreed to Azad's request.
शुरुआत वहीं से होती है, कुछ लोगों ने नहीं छोड़ी और माननीय भूतपूर्व प्रधानमंत्री डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी सुबह चाहते थे बोलना, लेकिन माननीय लीडर ऑफ द हाउस ने कहा था कि जब डिस्कशन शुरू हो जाए उस वक्त ये बोल सकते हैं। मेरे ख्याल में अब लीडर ऑफ द हाउस को कोई आपत्ति नहीं होनी चाहिए।
However, Leader of the House and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley strongly objected to Dr. Singh being given an opportunity to speak outside the debate on the issue.
The Honourable former Prime Minister is entitled to participate in that debate. But you can't say, I will hold up the debate, but give to the opposition a special opportunity to speak. That is something we are not acceptable.
The opposition, however, hit out at the government for not allowing the former Prime Minister to speak while reiterating their demand for the Prime Minister's presence in the House.
सभापति जी, पूरा विपक्ष एक मत है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी हाउस में आए और तब इसके ऊपर डिबेट शुरू होगी और उनको पूरे समय तक बैठना चाहिए। मैं क्या करूं? सदस्यों की बात सुननी चाहिए। मैं क्या करूं? उनको जवाब देना चाहिए। प्रधानमंत्री क्यों भाग रहे हैं?
Sir, if you have disallowed, you have disallowed. That is your call. The point here is the former Prime Minister of this country has stood up. He wants to speak. Please take a seat in the House. Take a seat. I allowed him. I allowed him. In the House.
The Congress members then marched into the well, raising the pitch against the government. As the verbal exchanges between the opposition and the Treasury benches escalated, the chair adjourned the House till noon.
House is adjourned up to 12:00 hours.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, witnessing an unruly act by Samajwadi Party member Akshay Yadav, Lok Sabha was yet again adjourned for the 6th day in a row. Now, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan warned the member of his disorderly act and said it was a gross violation of the norms of the House. However, the opposition parties continued with the protest, demanding discussion on the demonetization under an adjournment motion.
The opposition's demand to discuss the demonetization issue under an adjournment motion led to various adjournments in the lower house on Thursday. As several members from the Congress, TMC and the SP trooped into the well, raising anti-government slogans, SP member Akshay Yadav tore papers next to the chair of the Secretary General. Expressing grave displeasure, Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan warned Akshay Yadav for his act and termed it as a disorderly act.
This conduct of Akshay Yadav is in gross violation of the norms of standards and etiquettes laid down under rules and conventions of the House. This conduct is not proper on the part of the member and also for the dignity and prestige of the House. I, therefore, while expressing my grave displeasure over this conduct of Sri Akshay Yadav, warn him to refrain from such disorderly acts in future.
The House was adjourned for nearly an hour soon after it met for the day, as a determined opposition pitched for discussing the demonetization issue under adjournment motion. The Speaker, however, rejected several adjournment notices given by members including Kamal Nath, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Dushyant Chautala and Dharmendra Yadav. Protests have disrupted proceedings in the Lok Sabha for the last 6 days. Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
At 11 a.m.
Well, on to some other news. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today held a video conference with the CEOs of all public sector and private banks. And the purpose of the meeting was to review the latest status following the withdrawal of 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. In the meeting, the Finance Minister urged the heads of all banks to promote digital banking. He said that banks need to take this up on a mission mode, announcing that the setting up of the task force for this purpose as well.
One startling figure which came out in the course of this meeting today is that there are already 80 crore cards in circulation, of which 40 crores are being actively used by people. And the measure of active user is judged from the user at the ATM machines itself. So contrary to what is normally commented that this is still a far cry, this is a change which was already happening, and therefore this has to be used as a great opportunity to further catalyze this change. And the object of this meeting was to appeal to the banking system and prepare them in a mission mode for expediting this entire exercise. A task force has been set up under Mr. Anil Kachi, the Additional Secretary in the Department of Financial Services, which is going to oversee this entire expansion, particularly with regard to the POS machines. And as I indicated, the whole object of this exercise is the physical currency would shrink, but business and trade would expand. And therefore, both the shrinkage and the additionality should really be supplemented in the digital mode.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called a special cabinet sitting this evening, where the Prime Minister is likely to brief all cabinet ministers on the demonetization move. According to PTI, the cabinet may discuss taxation of money deposited in banks post-demonetization. Well, the meeting comes amid heightened opposition attack in Parliament over the issue. Now, news reports also suggest that the government is likely to extend the use of old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes till 30th of November. The government, remember, has already extended the toll exemption on all the national highways till the midnight of 2nd of December. Well, for more on this, let's go across to my colleague Vishal Daya, who's joining us live. Vishal, now, amid a ferocious attack by the opposition over the notes ban issue, now Prime Minister Modi has called this a cabinet meeting. Now, this is going to be the second cabinet meeting since yesterday. So what is likely to transpire?
Well, yes, this cabinet meeting assumes a lot of importance given the fact that a cabinet meet was held almost 24 hours ago, and that was a scheduled one. This is something which was announced just almost an hour ago, that the cabinet will be meeting at 8 p.m. And obviously, in the present situation wherein the issue of demonetization is being discussed threadbare both inside and outside the parliament, there are several viewpoints coming across, and the government is obviously facing criticism on several aspects of this particular policy decisions. What our sources say, and as you also pointed out through agency reports, that several aspects of this particular decision may come up for discussion in this particular cabinet meeting, although no official statement has been given as of now as to what might be the agenda of this particular meeting. But this is what is being expected as per the sources in the government, although we should wait and watch at least till the time the cabinet comes to an end as to what is that important piece of agenda which has sort of, compelled the Prime Minister to call for a cabinet meeting in less than 24 hours.
Absolutely. So it is going to be a crucial cabinet meeting. Thank you so much, Vishal, for those updates there. And as Vishal was saying, that the government's concession for accepting the old 500 and 1,000 rupee notes may also be, in fact, extended. But we have to wait and watch what all key decisions are taken as far as demonetization is concerned. Let's move on in the bulletin. Well, it is day 16 of demonetization and many problems remain. Now, tourists, it seems, are the worst affected. Now, away from home in a foreign land, many are finding it difficult to do what they came here to do, sightseeing. Instead, they spend much of their time standing in line to withdraw cash, as many depend on cash transactions to pay their bills and for shopping as well. Even traders say that their earnings have fallen tremendously.
This is a common sight these days. Long queues outside ATMs, each person waiting to withdraw cash. Demonetization has inconvenienced the common man and tourists are not untouched.
But then to get money, I had 1.5 hours to queue for the Thomas Cook. And then I was only allowed a small amount, which is not going to be very easy to get for the rest of my trip. I'm here for 3 months.
I face a lot of problems with money exchange, with long lines, to the bank, no currency, no money actually.
Hotel owners are also facing the brunt of demonetization. November is a busy season for hotels, but this year the foreign tourist crowd has thinned. Some big bookings have even been cancelled. Hoteliers claim business has dropped by up to 50%, so much so that it is becoming difficult for them to pay their staff.
हमारे को इस पहले तो बहुत अच्छा बिजनेस था. अभी हमारे को जो इसके डीमोनेटाइजेशन के बाद 50% का फर्क पड़ा है. इसमें ऐसा है कि काफ़ी ग्रुप्स ने कैंसिल कर दी है बुकिंग्स. हमारे यहीं खुद ही हमारे होटल में 3 बुकिंग कैंसिल हुए, एक फॉरेन ग्रुप का और 2 इंडियन ग्रुप्स के जो साउथ और बॉम्बे से आते हैं. और ऐसा है कि लोग जो बुकिंग्स आती थी ये थ्रू ट्रैवल एजेंट्स आती थी, तो ट्रैवल एजेंट्स ने सबने बुकिंग कैंसिल करवा दी है क्योंकि उनके पास कैश नहीं है.
The move has also dealt a severe blow to small-time traders and shopkeepers whose 90% trade is in cash. Pearl merchants in Hyderabad claim their sales have gone down by almost 50%.
देखिए, हैदराबाद पर्ल सिटी है. यहाँ पर पर्ल्स का रिटेल मार्केट बहुत अच्छा था पहले. जब से डीमोनेटाइजेशन आया है, टूरिस्ट के नंबर ऑफ टूरिस्ट में अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 50% की कमी आई है. उसका रीज़न यही है कि बाहर से टूरिस्ट आना बंद हो गया है. प्लस जितने भी कॉन्फ्रेंसेस थे अब ये सीज़न में होते हैं वो उन्होंने पोस्टपोन कर लिया है. हमारा सारा बिजनेस टूरिस्ट और डेलीगेट्स जो आते हैं उनके ऊपर होता था. हमारे हिसाब से पूरे पर्ल डीलर के हिसाब से 50% रिटेल में शॉर्ट चल रहा है, कम चल रहा है.
Things have improved to a large extent in the last few days. However, the speed with which new currency notes are being pumped into the economy does not seem to be enough to tackle the huge rush. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the rupee crashed to a record low level of 68.86 against the US dollar on Thursday amid sustained foreign fund outflows. Now, in the morning trade, the Indian currency opened at 68.76 against the US dollar and touched its all-time low of 68.86. Now, so far this year, it has fallen 3.9%, the biggest fall against the dollar since August 2015. Last time, the domestic currency had hit its all-time intraday low of 68.85 and closed at 68.80 on 28th of August 2013. Now, analysts believe that consistent dollar demand from importers mainly kept the rupee under pressure. Investors also remained cautious, weighing the impact of the demonetization move. More news from across the country in Nationwide. The Supreme Court on a Thursday cancelled the bail granted to suspended RJD MLA Raj He was granted bail by a Bihar court last month, and the state government of Chief Minister Nitish Kumar had moved the Supreme Court against the bail. Now, Raj is accused of allegedly raping a minor girl in February this year. The army on Thursday foiled 2 infiltration bids by militants in over the past 18 hours along the line of control in Kashmir's Gulmarg and Nogam sectors. The alert troops pushed back the intruders after heavy exchange of fire. 2 people died and 6 others injured on a Thursday after a fire broke out in a refinery complex of Reliance Industries in Gujarat's Jamnagar. The fire is said to have been caused due to a gas leak early in the morning. All operations of the refinery continue to be normal and the exact cause of the fire is being investigated. All right, let's get you some international news. Well, US President-elect Donald Trump has made a call for unity in his Thanksgiving message. Now, this comes after the incoming president made some controversial cabinet appointments, with critics charging him of promoting white nationalism and also taking in hardliners. However, with his latest women and ethnic minority nominations, Trump is looking for a conciliatory approach.
US President-elect Donald Trump has called for national unity in an address to mark the Thanksgiving holiday. He said the time has come to begin to heal divisions. Trump's remarks came after his controversial, divisive campaign rhetoric and a tumultuous post-election transition wherein he has been criticized for bias and nepotism.
It's my prayer that on this Thanksgiving, we begin to heal our divisions and move forward as one country, strengthened by shared purpose and very, very common resolve. We've just finished a long and bruising political campaign. Emotions are raw and tensions just don't heal overnight. It doesn't go quickly, unfortunately. This historic political campaign is now over. But now begins a great national campaign to rebuild our country and to restore the full promise of America for all of our people.
However, with the recent selection of his core team, Trump has sought to deflect allegations of divisiveness and sexism. On Wednesday, he selected South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley to serve as his ambassador to the United Nations, while Betsy DeVos has been chosen to be Secretary of Education. Both are former critics of Trump, and Haley being the first non-white nominee to his cabinet and the 44-year-old daughter of Indian immigrants.
There are 2 different Donald Trumps. There's the one you see on the stage, and there's the one who's very cerebral, sits there and considers things very carefully. You can have a very good conversation with him. And that's the Donald Trump that you're going to start seeing more and more of right now.
The appointments will need to be approved by the Republican-controlled Senate, which should not be a problem for Trump. Earlier, Trump picked 3 conservative loyalists to lead his national security and law enforcement teams. U.S. Senator Jeff Sessions was chosen for Attorney General, retired Army Lieutenant Michael Flynn as National Security Advisor, and Representative Mike Pompeo as Director of the Central Intelligence Agency. The 3 men are considered hardliners, close allies, or both, and all 3 have been fierce critics of President Barack Obama and the current U.S. policy. The nominations come as the Republican President-elect Trump works to fill key positions in his administration, which will take over from Obama on 20th January next year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, that's all in this edition of News at 6. Thanks for watching.